Okay, we'll kind of start things off with a recap on the aggravated assault. This was something that happened Sunday night near 8th and Indiana, where a man was found in the street, was unconscious, and taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. We had detectives that were able to find the suspects, and both of them were arrested. The first one was found yesterday, probably about 7:30 p.m. in the 3400 block of East 11th Street. And the second one was found around midnight, and he was actually in the area of like around 12th Street and Western Avenue. Both of them were arrested for aggravated assault, just the one count at this point. I don't have any change in the victim. The victim's still in, I guess I'll call it critical condition, still has life-threatening injuries, so no change as far as that goes. Just to recap on that, the victim is 32 years old. And I can give you the names. The two guys, I just have first and last, no middle names. But the first suspect that was found on East 11th Street, his last name is Pour, P-O-U-R. First is Jeff, J-E-F-F, and he's 28 from Sioux Falls. The second guy, his last name, I'll spell it as T-U-O-P-E-H. First is Steven, S-T-E-V-E-N, and he's 26 from Sioux Falls. Both of them were charged with aggravated assault.
Just one count each?
One count each, yeah.
And were detectives able to find kind of like the reason why they assaulted the man?
The reason why, not really. That's one of the things they're still trying to piece together. But, you know, we talked about before, we had it on surveillance video that we had the three of them that were together, and there was something that was said, some words were spoken. We're not sure exactly the nature of that. The victim left, and it was just almost short time after that, the two suspects then went after the victim. And at some point, we don't know if they caught up with him or if the victim fell to the ground. But the assault took place at 8th and Indiana. Once they beat the victim, then they left, walked back to the east, and got into a car and then drove away.
So did they take anything from him or just...
No, nothing was taken from him.
And you said as of today's update, he's still in life-threatening conditions?
Right, yeah. No, there's not been any change in his condition, so still has life-threatening injuries.
Okay. Oh, also, is there anybody else that police are looking to as people of interest in this?
No, you know, if anything, there may be some other witnesses if people happen to see anything. Outside of that, we don't believe anybody else is responsible for the assault. I think it was just these two that were responsible.
Okay.
And I'm just kind of start wading through the other stuff. The aggravated assault, that was a domestic. Somebody was threatened with a knife, no injuries there. The burglaries, we had a storage unit, a car had a wallet taken from it, an apartment and house were both entered, no arrests on any of those. The disorderlies, just basically reports, had probation violations, some warrants, and some trespassing and threats, but nothing big. Family offenses are both reports. The frauds had some credit cards, checks, and looks like couple of different reports that a counterfeit bill was found. One of them was out of business, the other was found outside, but no arrests with those. Nothing big from our larcenies, narcotics, no big quantities on those. The robbery, that's probably our next big thing. That was about 3:30 this morning, and that was in the 4300 block of East 12th Street. And so we had a convenience store there where our suspect entered the convenience store with a knife, ended up getting cash and then leaving. And we had the clerk was able to give the description of the suspect and clothing that he was wearing, and we had officers that were in that area. They first found a guy that was walking that roughly matched the description, but he didn't have any shirt on. And then some other officers a little bit distance away found a pile of clothes, a knife, and the cash. Well, I know it was, let me see if, I don't know if it was the knife, but they found the clothes and the cash.
No knife.
Let me double check on that one. That one doesn't say. Anyway, I'll get back to that in a second. So once they were able to piece it together, they found out this was the guy that had robbed the place. For some reason, after he robbed it, he took his shirt and left the cash behind. But he was arrested for first-degree robbery and theft. And let me see if a knife was found. Yep, there was a knife that was found, just a small pocket knife, I guess, or a small knife.
Who they found was the cash and the clothes?
Yes.
What was the location of the robbery?
So the robbery, that was in the, I had that here, 4300 block of East 12th Street. So like 12th and Charlotte, in that neighborhood. The man was found in the 700 block of South Charlotte, and then the clothes and cash were found, I think that was the 800 block, but let me double check. The 600 block. The knife, clothes, and cash were found in the 600 block.
And around what time was this?
That happened about 3:30 this morning.
Did he threaten the person at the store?
Well, I mean, had the knife. I don't know if he actually threatened to stab the person or cut the person, but he had the knife out, and
So would it be charged with aggravated assault or anything?
part of the robbery covers that because you have to have the threat of force or use of force.
Okay.
Kind of speaks to getting a timely description out.
Yeah, I mean, there was surveillance too that helped, and once they found the guy, they were able to review the surveillance, and then obviously everything matched up. But that's one of the first things I think the dispatchers probably asked, that is getting a description of a suspect or a description of the vehicle, and this is a great reason why. That information is relayed to the officers as they're going there. So you have other officers that are going to be checking the area. Have another officer that will respond directly to and talk to the victim and hopefully get an update on some of that stuff. But you just never know. We've had a number of occurrences that officers are responding to a crime, and that information on the suspect or what they're wearing, what they look like, or what they're driving, and the officer happens to come across it as they're leaving that area. And so it happens. We're able to solve crime just because people are observant and give a good description of suspects. And his name, let's see, his last name is Hale, Hale. First is Joshua, Joshua. Middle, I'll just spell it Edrondrick. And he's 19 from Sioux Falls.
And so Sam, just to be clear, had he tried hiding the money and knife in the shirt, wrapped it up, and then left it to come back and get it later? Is that kind of his plan? Or?
I don't know if he was. The report didn't say how it was all wrapped up together, just said it was left there. I don't think he was planning on coming back to get it, so I'm not sure why exactly he left it there. And let's see, the sex offenses, one of them is a report. Two of them were sex offenders that didn't register. Nothing big from the simple assault. Vandalism was a vehicle that was damaged. And the weapons violation, that was just some information, assisting the ATF on a investigation on that one. So.
And I got in a little late, but the ag assault that we talked about yesterday at Pavement, Indiana, there's an update on that.
Right. So we had two suspects that were arrested from that aggravated assault. It happened Sunday night near 8th and Indiana. The two suspects, Jeff Poor, P-O-U-R, he's 28, and then Stephen, S-T-E-V-E-N-T-U-O-P-E-H is his last name. He's 26. Jeff was found about 7:30 p.m. That was in the 3400 block of East 11th Street. And then around midnight, Stephen was found near 12th Street in Western. Both of them were charged with aggravated assault. And the victim, same condition as yesterday, so no changes with that, still has life-threatening injuries.
Any other additional details on like how they left the scene or how we are sure that it's them? Were there tips to Crime Stoppers?
No, I don't think there was tips. We had the surveillance video to, we talked about possibly releasing that, but once that went out to law enforcement, they were able to identify the suspects, and so that's why we didn't send anything out yesterday. So this is another instance of the surveillance video being used to solve crime. So this one, we didn't know who the suspects were, found that they were captured on surveillance video. We were able to identify them and then found them last night, and both of them were arrested. That's all I have, unless you guys have anything else.
Yeah, I was just wanted to ask, we're doing a story about porch pirates again. But what I wondered from your side is, how can you protect yourself from a porch pirate? I mean, people know the convenience of ordering online, but is there anything you can do?
Yeah, so the thefts of packages that's one of those things that happens all throughout the year. And I think a lot of people think that just because we're getting closer to holiday season that there's going to be more packages and more thefts, but the reality is this happens throughout the year. So there's not really necessarily a season, so to speak. But there's probably a few things. Obviously, there's the convenience factor is the big thing, is you order something online and it shows up at your house. The chance you're taking, though, is somebody could walk by, somebody could drive by and take it. And we've heard in other places, I don't know if we've been able to confirm that here, but you have people that are suspected of following delivery drivers around or just driving around neighborhoods looking for packages. So it's always a danger that somebody could steal that. If you have a neighbor, make sure somebody's home. Those are probably good options. I'd say the best one is to make arrangements to pick up the package. That way you know that it's delivered and you're still going to get it. The trade-off is the convenience factor. I mean, it's really convenient to have that package there, but you just never know if somebody's going to drive by and take it.
Sign for it, have it in the box.
Yeah, I mean, most people are going to get the notifications how it's being delivered, and I'd suggest getting hold of if it's something valuable, if it's something that you're concerned about and want to make sure you get it, get hold of one of those companies and find out if there's options to make sure that it is secure. Whether that's requiring a signature, delivering it to a relative, or make sure a neighbor's watching out, or just picking it up yourself from their distribution hub. Anything else? Okay, thanks.